Shemai. Today I'm back down in the coppice area and actually, even though it's only been sort of perhaps a few weeks, a month maybe since I've last down here, the growth is tremendous and actually what I'm noticing is just the sheer diversity of plants, and you can hear animals as well, in a coppiced area. But it's not actually trees that we want to have a look at. I'll see if I can wind my way through these, careful not to step on too much. But what we want to have a look at today is, try and get through the brambles, here we are, is this plant here, this bit of a monster, and actually there's two side by side. Now this here is burdock, and there's two different types of burdock. There's Lesser Burdock, which is Arctium minus, and there's Greater Burdock, which is Arctium lappa. And the main way of telling the difference between them is that the leaf stalks, Lesser Burdock has hollow leaf stalks and Greater Burdock has solid leaf stalks. And in Welsh, the burdock is cacamuki or cydawrach. Burdock is a hairy, robust biennial with a branching stem. You can see here coming off quite a furrowed stem, and it grows in common areas like footpaths, waste grounds, woodlands like this, riverbanks, and it can actually reach about 1.5 meters tall. It goes by a couple of different names. One is beggar's buttons, and another name is the Velcro plant because of these flowering burrs that then turn into the seeds. And it's called the Velcro plant because the Swiss inventor George de Mestral had noticed when he was out walking his dog how the seeds, these little hooked seeds, caught in his dog's sort of looped fur. And that's how he came up with the idea of creating Velcro. The first thing you really notice about burdock when it starts to grow is the sheer size of the leaves. I mean, it's said that they can grow up to 50 centimetres long, and since I've been stood here, I've just noticed one over there. So bear with me, we'll see if we can traipse through this bit. Past the hornbeam there, through some nettles, and look at the size of this one in here. It's very difficult to see against the sun, but there's my hand. I can't even come back far enough. It is absolutely massive and probably pushed to grow a bit taller because it's in the shade. But if we return to the actual burdock plant that we're looking at out here, now these leaves, like I say, they can be big. This one here is the biggest one on this plant, I would imagine, and you can see the size of it in comparison to my hand there. And they grow off a stalk, and they're broadly oval and pointed, as you can see there. Now they're green above, and you can see it's a darker green above there, and on the underside they're sort of lighter green and got sort of felt-like hairs. And then lower leaves on the plant are generally sort of heart-shaped, as you can see by there. Now the stalk, if we look in through there, I'm not sure if you can see, you can just make out that it's slightly ridged. It's got like a furrowed, ridged stem, sort of travels up and with those branching leaves. Now the most fascinating thing, like we've suggested, are the flowers. Now the flowers are between sort of July and September. Now we're sort of early August in the blazing heat. Actually, it's nice to be down here in the shade, and they have these purple flowers, as you can see the ones up there. Some of those have passed over, but have these purple flowers. Sometimes it's rare, but they can be white, and they're dense and rounded, about 3.5 centimetres, well, up to 3.5 centimetres across, and they flower in their second year of growth. And then it's these flowers that turn into the fruits known as burrs. Now, these burrs are the ones with like the Velcro type hooks on them, and I can even feel them as I'm stroking that one there. I can feel it hooking into my finger, and it's obviously dispersed by the animals, and the hooks hook into the fur or feathers, and it'll get travelled long distances. Now these will hook into your clothes, and they are really difficult to get out as well. Now I'd seen somewhere that to remove a burr, what you need to do, it should be broken in half and turned inside out. But I know for a fact that one of my coats still has burrs hooked into it from last winter, so not so easy to remove. Now, as you might imagine, a big plant like this is really good for the sort of wildlife, but in particular it's a good habitat for moths. It's good for the common garden tiger moth, the thistle ermine moth, and also the spotted white plume moth. Now, I would imagine the times that you've heard of burdock before is from the drink dandelion and burdock, and it can make drinks both alcoholic and non-alcoholic, like dandelion and burdock, or made into beer. But it's also used in cooking, and it's used in Japanese cooking where the root is cut into thin strips and stir-fried. The other thing is that these large leaves in the past used to be used to wrap butter to keep it cool, similar to docks. And because the leaves look similar to dock, it's got dock in its name, and these burrs go together to make burdock. So you can see where that name has sort of come from. Now, from a medicinal point of view, it used to be used as a herbal medicine and was considered one of the best blood purifiers, but also a remedy for skin diseases and infections. Going back to the ancient Greeks, these large heart-shaped leaves were often used as masks by the ancient Greek actors, and you can see why. They could easily be sort of shaped and manipulated and transformed into masks. So there we go, burdock. It's a really easy and obvious one to find with those huge leaves and these fantastic Velcro-like hook flowers and burrs that come on them. It's a safe plant, like I say, and can be used for eating and making drinks like dandelion and burdock. And it's a perfect time now to go out and see if you can find it. So good luck.